And then we'll unmute it.
Okay. Public Works meeting to order. To start off, we have a chair's agenda. Chairman Ryan, a resolution supporting the act of New York State by American Salt Act. That's attached to your agenda, but have it online, a letter, a resolution acting with Livingston County, supporting by salt from money to New York State rather than money salt from import suppliers. That's all I'm saying.
Of course, Livingston County wants everybody to buy this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we all should too, because we don't like American rice.
Yeah, I move it.
And the only thing salt from New York State.
Oh, yeah. Want to put them in our town. I'm a-
Got a motion by Supervisor Davis, to support the resolution. Further discussion? All in favor?
I-
All motion carries. Okay, right down to the priorities that consider. We have some positions to fill that, like seasonal ones.
Yeah, so we had 4 positions budgeted, seasonal positions. A couple of them we want to fill with preferably CDL drivers this year. 2 of them we'd like to fill as just laborers, seasonal, with college students if possible. I know this is something that's been attempted in the past and for one reason or another didn't work out, but I'd like to try to fill them again with some college kids, at least with a couple of them. You know, we haven't been able to fill, you know, we had 2 seasonal positions filled past several years, but we actually hired those guys on full time. So we currently don't have any seasonal workers, so that's what I'd like to do.
You have those people that vacated, these people were part-time or not coming back.
No, so we only had 2 filled last year. We hired them on full time, so
Oh, but they did full-time.
yeah.
One's in the sign shop, I think I saw, and the other one was, maybe?
Brandon, yeah, the other one's an MBO.
I Rich. Motion made by 1, 2, 3, all in one, should have a motion by Supervisor Roach. Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Everybody work updated, it doesn't take. We want to highlight that?
Yeah, so couple things. Shokoff Bridge, it's actually looks really good right now. They got to the point where they're going to start pulling some. Whitford's going to start pulling some guys off. There's not a lot of work left other than the roof and the staining and paving, which is work that's done in the spring. So
Yeah.
they're going to start pulling people off and start attacking Pike a little more. So.
Did you get the pictures I sent you from that,
John Kuchel.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah, it's all over Facebook.
Yeah,
Off Road Bridge. Yeah.
I can really wait to see it in person.
I was gonna say, and when you see it in person, you'll be for it, how big it is.
Yeah. It's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, it's getting a lot of media attention, so.
It's getting quite a lot of attention on Facebook. It's awesome. Does he have quite a following anyway for 60-second serenity?
Yeah, right. I need about, 2 hours at night, so.
Yeah, I know a couple of guys asked me, it's like, so where are we building the next one? And, oh, I don't think you guys are ready.
I got a place.
Maybe those neighbors were right, I was concerned about the traffic coming up to see it. So
Yeah.
I was concerned with the day we went up there.
Yeah,
The Jeremy's there, do that.
I'm sure the first year and a half. That was pretty nice.
Is that your dedication?
What?
Was that when you did your dedication?
No, I mean. For private dedication, anyone.
Is it big enough for Supervisor Kale to take his truck over to get his maple syrup?
Yeah, I heard a few comments.
Those are pretty soft.
Oh, yeah.
You break it, you want it, right?
Yesterday.
You want to break it, you want it.
Exactly, I'm trying to, doesn't seem to work.
The boss was saying.
Also, it's pretty funny, you know, the general public, when they're talking about the bridge, they ask how much steel is on that bridge. There's not 1 ounce of steel on it other than fasteners, so it's pretty neat to you sort of educate people on it. And
Oh, there's no steel underneath?
no, there's not 1 ounce of steel on it, it's all wood. Except for your fasteners, but it's all wood.
Okay, you said that they're gonna start working on the bike bridge.
Pending when they get the material for pins, put the bridge together, it was a catastrophe, but I think we're supposed to get the pins in this week. Combination of waiting too long to order the material and ordering the wrong material, I think was the issue there, but I'm supposed to have it this week. I haven't heard yet one way or another, but. We'll see. Nothing really has changed for Exchange Street project. So the GTC board is voting, I believe it's the 28th, to officially move construction funds back to 2022. I don't
They're
foresee,
meeting right now.
are they meeting now?
Yeah, I'm missing it.
I don't foresee any issues with it.
No, I didn't either. But yeah, they got a Zoom meeting going right now.
And then once that's fully approved, bid documents are pretty much ready. We can start advertising for bidders on that project. Because we need to get going on it if we want to finish it this year.
You didn't get any further, I didn't get any further with. Bottom line.
No, it's like we're just paving.
That's the same issue we had like the Beach Street, you know, needs to work
I
on.
guarantee it, I'll guarantee it, they're gonna do this up this year. But they've had 2 water breaks there in the last 2 years. All they did was patch it.
You do the water goes to prison.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they want to line the prison. I don't understand why we can't use some federal funding for it. Consider nothing there.
Same problem.
What we doing on the Wacker Road?
It's a tip project. That's just a fill in the project.
That's the one that's gonna put that under the village.
Yeah, it's gonna go right to the end by the gas station. We're actually meeting with the village next week. They have interest in some work that they want to do as a betterment to this project. So we'll meet with them with the consultant.
That part of the trail thing. So,
It'll probably be sidewalks and stuff along that road.
Interesting, walking the bridge, you know, trail, and they want to catch some info to that.
Yeah, the mayor asked me several times about that walking bridge.
Yeah. I see that down there, you have to be selected, well, to be the engineer for that.
Yeah, they did a lot of the prep work for it. They're familiar with it, familiar with the goals of the project, so, you know, we pretty much will develop for that.
And then so the engineering will be done this year, bridge will be done in 23.
East Lake Road is, so I was approached by GTC, because they had funding available this year that they want to get used up. So they asked if we'd be interested in moving engineering for that project up. But keeping construction in 2024. You know, I told him, yeah, probably should, it's a good idea, so.
Did you do that when you were supervisor before, get some funds for East West Road?
Federal fund pays for 95% of it.
Yeah.
That's under Jack Mitchell, when he was highway superintendent, yeah. It was, that road ran about 1.7 million. And it was 95% covered by federal funds.
Well, this
It took a while.
It'll be same treatment as Alaska, so it'd be a mill and fill project.
And
Hopefully incorporating bike lanes on those roads too. But the consultant's gonna do the assessment to see if that's feasible.
that road has cost so much because it was a complete mess prior to that.
Yeah.
They never did a good job prior to that. I remember we've been told me about it a number of times previous years ago.
We've done some patchwork on that road and such in the past, but it's getting to the point now where it needs to be replaced, so.
Gets a lot of heavy traffic,
Mhm.
a lot of agricultural traffic,
Well, trucks go to more.
water trucks.
Yeah.
Agricultural manure tankers.
So tip applications, these were due, or these are due on the 25th. I had these submitted a couple weeks ago, but Sheldon 29 is one that Todd had submitted for bridge yard funding for a couple times. Didn't get approved, so I submitted for tip funding for that project. I also submitted for West Lake Road. That's same condition as East Lake, it's not great. So we'll submit those, and you know, most of our federal eligible roads are actually around the lake. It's pretty weird, but I don't know how they determine what's eligible or not. That's what they have.
That's a nice though.
Must be that,
I had, on that West Lake Road, I guess they couldn't do it, I can't recall all the criteria, but they wanted to have a low light for walking and bicycle traffic
Yeah.
on that road. That road was about a good, what counted as $1 million back then. A lot more than they probably, but if there's any way to widen it, there's high interest in bicycle traffic.
We're gonna try, you know, the engineering firm's gonna do a feasibility study, see if it's feasible, but that's one of the goals, and I know that's big for the feds too, is multimodal travel, so we're gonna try.
The traffic is why we were successful in lowering the speed limit on that road. Back at that time,
45,
45, I called heckle with that many times. The number of people who dropped the speed limit, but it needed to be done.
Right.
It needed to be done.
There's people walking along that road all the time, you know, unfortunately, people don't always pay attention, they're just cruising 55 down that road, and you know, someone could get hurt, so it's probably a good thing to lower the speed limit.
You gotta be careful too, sometimes you flying golf ball come across.
Only one I'm. Oh, you're the only one. I thought I was the only one that did that. Oh, no.
That'll connect right into the Oaxaca Road, you know, and I know they wanted some.
Boy, it's that road that's really takes
off.
off. The longest drive, I think. I always go out there. I never did find it. Go and find people across the road.
Washington, was that, they showed you paid to run the Washington, and now by.
I've had people, like you brought up that Oaxaca Road, sure. I've had over the last year, a few people ask me about, there was something about the speed limit on that road, on Oaxaca Road.
You know, we tried to get that and we never got approval.
On Oaxaca Road, the state wouldn't approve it.
They're tough.
I wouldn't quit. I had a number of people ask me about that. And I wouldn't quit on it.
I think it depends on the engineer you get that comes out and actually does the traffic
Yeah.
study. Because
Well, you went through the county transportation council,
Yeah, we did, a number of years ago.
who chairs that now?
Who is it?
Wasn't it Jake?
It's,
Rick,
no, it's,
Rick
it's, Rick is it.
I would jump on them again.
He's out now.
Yeah.
I would jump on them again and bring it up. Because, I don't know recently, but years ago, there was once or a couple times pretty bad accidents.
Yeah.
Up that way, especially when heading towards Warsaw. As it goes up the hill.
Now we've got there's a farm market down there, there's a lot of traffic right there.
I think I wouldn't quit trying, it better be a pain in the butt to whoever. But to start with, the traffic control would, get the best start.
Are you talking about both sections of the road? Because it comes to, are you talking about West Lake to the end, or are you talking about the entire stretch of the road?
Well, right now, we're gonna Wagner Road, because a few people on the road brought that to my attention. I'm in a restaurant somewhere, and people come up and say, hey, what can you do about the traffic on it? And you can see the sheriff, well, still the same thing in East Lake Road. We dropped the traffic just right where the lake is.
Yeah.
And it's still hard to get people.
Signs and speed limit signs.
Put some stickers on there.
That whole sign shop.
Yeah.
Make some speed limit signs.
Yeah, so the county attorney is working on a contract to accept the money from local water keepers. I'm not sure where that stands. I'll have to get in touch with her. There's a couple of other things I got to talk to her about anyways. Local Niagara water keepers, they're working on getting more funding because I sent them an updated estimate before they didn't have enough money. So they're about 50K short now. And I know they want to get started in March if the DEC allows us to. I guess it's something I want to ask the committee, if they are around 50K short, should we proceed or should we not do the project? This is something that's going to turn into county responsibility, and it's a big pipe. It's going to be expensive later on. So
You're saying that if we invest at 50 now, we're probably going to save ourselves.
no, because it's a town culvert now. It's like a 3-foot culvert now, and now it's going to 15-foot pipe. So
Which town is it?
Orangeville. I can make an argument for either way. I personally, I wouldn't, but leave it up to everybody else.
There's some water involved with that, to some extent too.
Yeah.
But they want to change it to a bigger culvert,
Yeah, a lot bigger.
a lot bigger.
So the trouble.
A lot of their funding's coming from Trout Limited and National Fish and Wildlife. They need, I just don't know how fast they're gonna work to get that last 50K, is the issue. So,
If they can get the 50K, then would your opinion still remain the same?
no, if they get the money that it's gonna cost to do the work, I think we should do it. I mean, it's just,
Is that something that you would do, or just be contracted out?
no, we're doing it.
Yeah. Well, if we go ahead and start doing the work without them having the 50K, they're not gonna have too much incentive to go get the 50K.
Exactly. Kind of set a bad precedent too, I think, with that.
I guess that's all they got in the money.
And I think right now they're under the impression that we'll begin work without that money anyways, so. I don't love that, so.
They've got a whole lot of they come up with the money to get this thing done. The problem is that, totally necessary to have that big little culvert there to begin with. There's a 3-foot one there now. So it'll be great, but bigger.
So they want the Loch Ness monster to go through there, or something, I'm not sure. So, a little bit, I was talking to Lozella, they did the layout for the project, they did the engineering. And they understand it's way oversized, but that's what they wanted, that's what, Fish and Wildlife wanted. So that's what they got.
The Fish and Wildlife has some money left over from the pipe dam project.
Thing, but that money's probably gone.
Yeah, there was some money left for the salt water. Just other things in that area.
It's surprising because they deal with grant money, I'm pretty sure. I'm surprised they don't have to use it right away or use it.
So if you can get a hold of Jen, and they worked out where they'll sign a contract to pay us for the full amount. That additional 50, because basically that's all we need is a contract saying they'll pay us the full amount. You would start in the beginning of March. So before the next committee cycle is what I'm asking you.
It depends on DEC. I know they're submitting a waiver to begin in March. Typically, you're supposed to wait till April 1st
Yeah.
because of the trout spawning season.
I'm just thinking about the committee cycles.
Yeah.
And how long would you have to get it done before?
The entire
DEC only let you work in a trout stream a certain period of time.
we would have the whole bridge season to do the work. It should only take probably 3 weeks to do the project. It's not a huge project. The toughest part is assembling that pipe. Because it comes.
Hardest part is getting the funding.
It comes in squares and we budgeted for a technician from the manufacturer to come out and help us. So we actually contacted them, we got a quote to bring them out.
This is still just a culvert, it's not box.
Oh, it's a oblong culvert.
I guess the consensus is you would want to go. Yeah, real, that's about.
If we start working, we're not gonna come up with money.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
I don't think we'd start work without a contract,
Right.
and the contract would have to be the amount of money.
All right, so this is the message.
Okay, good.
So the next bullet, the next appropriation, this is just, if we do it, we do it, if we don't spend it, but I think this is just like some of the money, just so we can get rolling, if that contract comes through and we can start right away, there's money there to work on.
So do you want to do that now or do you want to?
I think it's not gonna hurt to do it now, in fact, because if he can get that contract signed, even if we don't have a resolution with this and execute, how sometimes we do that, because I thought we were pretty close.
We haven't done an approval on a contract.
No, we haven't, but Jen's been working on it. We just don't have the contract yet.
And I know there's money, I forgot how much it was, but there's money that we had to use, so we just start spending down on this chunk of money.
Yeah.
Or else they're gonna lose it.
I think it was 13,000, so we sent them an invoice,
So that's,
give us some money out there, we can always give it back,
so that's kind of tough to start spending down. I guess we can charge our time up until now, but I don't think it'll be 13,000 more.
All right, you can see that's on the agenda a little later, so. That's it, we get there, we'll finish with it.
oh, I thought we were on number 6.
No.
We jumped a little bit.
Oh, I thought we were on
Just now,
sorry. Sorry.
Do we so moving forward with the work report, I think we've had a lot to do lately, it's been chasing water issues, just like everybody else. Trying to keep roads open. That's about all I have for highlights for the work report. Questions on that?
Any questions better than this report?
Mowing over there, so. The guys, that's when you're supposed to shut the phones, or turn the answer machine off, but don't answer the phone on Pete's in town. It's good voice. Got a lot of phone calls.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got one too. We, there was a couple old apple trees in someone's yard, and he hit them. He didn't hit them, but he mowed them, he trimmed them back, and, they're dead, they're 100% dead, but they called them, they weren't happy with it, but.
No, it's a thankless job, but it needs to be done. I think it's done. It is, when you came in that last day, I said, there comes trouble. So, what are you doing? I said, I'm getting phone calls and then covering the highway. So, I did just, it was highway superintendent,
I heard that.
very real. Told me you should get down there and talk to you. But I know what we can do together.
Yeah, we wanted to make the highway superintendent's meeting yesterday, but, you know, we were driving around looking at roads and stuff a lot of the day, so we didn't make it.
Becky came in the resolution to support the Fight Americans all day. That's that resolution.
Okay, thank you.
It's next to it.
Yeah, they came from other counties.
Item down number 5, permission to install a pedestrian bridge over the Silver Lake outlet. Reporting Adams for the village of Berry.
This is something I've also worked with the county attorney. I asked her if we need a contract, you know, basically to hold us, you know, make sure we're not, we don't get in trouble if something goes wrong. That part, that's just pouring the footers and setting the prefab bridge. So that's pretty simple, pretty basic work. The village is buying all the material, they're renting all the equipment. We'll supply the equipment that we have and we need. Other than that, they're supplying everything.
We need a motion to approve that. This is part of the Silver Lake Trail to get you across the outlet to the other side. Motion by Supervisor Kozlowski, for the discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Hey Devin, were you gonna do at least an IMA? Because you said you asked the county attorney, but what did she say? Between,
She was looking into it.
so if you do an IMA, it'll be at no cost, right? It's just for liability purposes?
Yes, yeah, we're not gonna charge them for it, we're just gonna do it, like, it's just for liability.
If she says yes, just put it as an FYI on one of your agendas.
Okay,
Thanks.
yeah.
Okay, now we're down to number 6, Janice. Any discussion? Yeah, discuss that. Janice has suggested we go ahead and appropriate this time, so it's ready to get to that. Motion by Supervisor Kale, for 6 and 7. Further discussion?
Well, let's just do it on 7, because my notes say that the Buffalo River water keepers will be 50,000 short, and so do we receive. Like, no, we'll wait until funding is available, so I don't want it to appear like you approved.
Okay.
But I just want it to. set the money aside.
Motion be for 7.
Yeah,
Okay. And that, I'll appropriate the money for the neighbors.
yeah.
Okay, we have a motion from Supervisor Kale for number 7, further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. eight, special service contract. Again, for the Chilcott Road Bridge. This is additional or
Yes, yes.
we need a motion to number eight, that. Ms. Grant,
Go ahead, spend the money on
we have motion by Supervisor Grant, for number eight, for discussion. All those in favor?
it. Aye.
Opposed, carried.
This is this is an increase in revenues though, right? Deb? This is money from,
Yes,
do we have a resolution that approved the actual? Because I think this is set up a little backwards. It looks like an expense. I think we should be amending a previous resolution to increase funding. Have you talked to Katie?
yeah, I'm not sure if there's a previous resolution or not, obviously they had to do that at some point.
All right, so we have to get some,
We still need to do it, but I'll get some clarification so it looks right when it goes to resolution.
we did vote on it.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, move on to number nine, mutual aid agreement, Ontario County Public Works, mutual aid agreement. Federal highway law, cost effective sharing of labor materials and equipment. That just with Ontario County,
Just with Ontario County, I asked around about it, I'm not even sure that we used it in the past. Probably not a bad thing to have, just in case. I don't think it would hurt.
I never.
motion by Supervisor Roach. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now, you did mention it was Orleans County, I don't know if they could buy some box culverts from us.
Yeah, Orleans County, they had a pipe failure, so they have a road that's closed. And Lubella had reached out to me, asked if we had any laying around that we would be willing to sell. We have, according to the Taylor, we have over 160 boxes sitting laying around the yard, so probably wouldn't be a bad thing to sell. So,
We sold some a few years ago and it had,
We had the floods.
Yeah.
It's done a lot.
was downstate. Storm valleys there. Hurricane, the storm lead, hurricane, one of them.
Yeah, one of them was void.
Two of them came through at the same time.
Yeah, it wiped out a lot of roads down. Yeah, we sent quite a few box culverts down.
I think we're gonna slow down on making those, because 160 is a little excessive, I think, so. I think we can slow it down for a couple of years.
Number 10 is American Public Works Association Award Banquet. That will work.
Yeah, so there's a,
Where's that?
so Hillside is on the 39 at Hillside. So you turn off of 39 on Hillside, it's that bridge right there.
Oh, Eagle.
Everybody will carry your time, you won't carry your time. Keep your home.
That's something you plan on attending or?
Yeah, I'm gonna attend. I'm doing some homework on the bridge, so I know what it was about, but I'll be ready.
So you have some verbiage to say, you know, potentially the award.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Okay.
I think there was a picture of it. Send a picture.
Yeah, I think there is. I also had one of my guys go get the box out of storage at that project, so I can dig through it a little bit.
Something that was on the county highway.
No, Bergman, not Bergman. Signed it. Oak Grove, I believe is the name of the construction company. that did the construction on it.
Good job. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, what's they like about it? You know, it's really good. What was their?
There's different categories, there's less than 5 million, there's 5 million to 10 million, there's just different categories.
It's like the Emmys of bridges.
I mean, it looks nice, but it doesn't appear to be anything
Just a bridge.
unique.
Just a bridge.
From one side of the word going to the other.
But- And it's wider than the old one.
It was, that's what I was gonna say, it is wider, right?
Yeah.
The old one looked like
It'll be in the order.
everybody gets to be
Don't say that.
Sure, in a couple of years, we'll have one for show off.
Yeah.
That should be a good.
Red carpet.
That one I can see.
Okay, move on to number 11, this is a special service contract with First Patterson Lee. Support construction, Exchange Street, and maintenance of that.
Yeah, this is for construction inspection and construction services for that project. We'll have, after bid openings, we'll have one coming for construction at some point.
Motion by Supervisor Kale. For discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Anything else for them?
Just a comment, I'm gonna go back to that speed limit on Electric Road, we talked about before. And that's a awful nice straightaway down there. I remember different roads in Castle, one we had to close on account of young generation accidents. And is it possible? Roads leading from the town of Gainesville and Castle lead to that road. You know, is it possible for the county to go after the state to drop the speed limit on that road? I'm just looking to say, sooner or later,
We can ask,
but you gotta go through the safety council.
yeah, we can go to the traffic safety board for write a letter.
Yeah.
I'll also write a letter, we can see what we can do.
I don't know if a request from Gainesville or Castle would hold any water, we're not, our towns aren't connected with that road, but we lead to it, right close to it. If it's possible, if it's legal, whatever. Gainesville, you go along with that?
Hey, Joe, this is Dan Lure. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So having recently gone through this on a couple of roads in the town of Middlebury, principally LaGrange Road and then East Road, the town board will need to pass a resolution in favor of reduction for the speed limit. And then it goes to the county. Devin has to sign a particular form. And then it goes to the traffic safety board and then the state. And then they assign their engineers to look at it. But you have to start at the local level with a resolution from a responsible town boards.
So I understand that. I'm just saying, if two towns who weren't connected to that road would have any input in it, that's all.
Like letters of support for the.
Yeah.
Can't hurt. It may not help, but it can't hurt.
Yeah,
I don't want to see somebody's grandkid end up in the hospital, that's all I'm looking at. Amen. That's good.
Westlake Road is connected to Westland, Westlake Road is 45. Is that all the way through? No?
Well, West Lake Road leads. West Lake Road, let me see, it's south probably a quarter mile short
Yeah,
of there, you know?
yeah,
I think Castle still comes on and plows to there, don't we?
yeah, they
We turn right around, we gotta turn somewhere.
turn around there.
West Lake Road is 55, then I think a little further down, it turns into 45.
I think within Westlake is 45 the whole distance, right?
Yeah,
Right,
It's the whole distance.
okay.
we tried to get 40 down there at the border, but The state would just give us 45 the whole shot.
Yeah, so we did have a white sheet that there, you got the state park there.
Yeah.
Mine to the corner.
But if any,
By the whole way.
I try to get a motion from the town. Just gotta make myself know to do that, that's all.
Okay, appreciate you know. Lauren, Mike's here, Devin's here, want to talk about the proposed joint ventures?
Before my meeting? Should we wait till the end for this one? Yes. Thanks, Tim.
I know what you're saying.
So we met with campus construction and Allison, Nick, and their estimator Jonathan. I had a meeting with them earlier this week. Sit down, it was very beneficial to do it this way, come up with some budgetary numbers for the proposed public works building in the highway department. Without an actual design of the building, of course, it's very difficult to come up with the actual figure, but what they gave us was proposed numbers for a mid-grade steel studded steel building that would mimic other buildings that are already on the property. So the project would entail the demolition of the existing highway department office building. And this building would be placed up against the shop and roughly 70 feet, 75 feet by 100 foot. So we're looking at a 15,000 square foot building, which would incorporate, the downstairs would incorporate, first level would incorporate Kevin's apartment in its entirety, right up against the main shop. And then on the other side of that first level, the ground floor, would be buildings and grounds, 2-bay storage center, which would be 40 feet by 75 feet. That would allow us for dry storage, would allow us to have wood shop space, and then a small paint booth per se. Or clean room is what I'm kind of calling it, for painting or irritating or any working like that. Upstairs would be the buildings and grounds department. And then we would have restrooms upstairs. There would be a break room for the buildings and grounds staff. There would be office space with additional space for growth for buildings and grounds. And in the back of that section of building would be conference room or class space. Devin had asked for that. I think it's very beneficial to have that because there's things that highway hosts that they need space like that, or meetings that they have that they need more space than just a table in the basement that they do now. On the other side of that buildings and grounds department, we would open up an area for future expansion of other departments. We talked about possibly maybe weights and measures, incorporating them. The idea was thrown out there, maybe soil and water. I know they're at the Ag Center now, but a lot of the equipment they use and a lot of things they do are wrapped up with the highway department as well. So if the footprint is going to be that 75 by 100, why not build it both stories, and to make sure, like we did with social services, make sure we have enough room doing it once, not having to go back to the project in a few years. So they came up with a total figure of $3.9 million for the traditional build of that building, with a 10% per year escalation charge. And then their design and overseeing the contingency on that is $300,000. That puts us at $4.5 million. And then the construction contingency and incidental budget on top of that Those are figures, those are rough estimates that they throw in there for just in cases, or things that you run into, or changes that may come up. So shoot for the stars, it's gonna be a $5.8 million adventure that we're looking to break ground on up there. But it would be a state-of-the-art building. It wouldn't, it's not gonna be the Taj Mahal of buildings. It's gonna be very simple when it comes to that, but it's gonna have all the updated equipment, steel doors, firewalls. The face of the building will be a little bit fancier than the shop will, with some folk stone involved, much like what Cole Construction just did with the building on 19. Very similar to that style building, and then office space inside. And then attached, and Dan, I know you're on, I'll get you a copy of this as well. But they gave us the breakdown of what they see everything costing. It depends on where the committee wants to go, is how we can then design the building and figure out what we can do in-house. Years ago, we did a lot of the interior work on a lot of these projects. I don't foresee that happening in this day and age, only because we can't afford to pay what the unions are paying for help, and we're not gonna see the good help to construct things. Some of the things though, like the demolition and removal of the old facility, we could definitely do in-house. Devin Wright discussed that yesterday. We can run a bulldozer in the thing and fill the hole and start over. That'll save us some money. But for this project to progress, it's probably in our best interest to not slow either department down with the workload we have, to carry on and to hire this thing out with a construction manager seeing it in its entirety, and they hand us the keys at the end. So, are there any questions right away? I know that's a lot of money.
So we're both, wait, let me just make sure I understand. So we're gonna bulldoze the building that we just renovated? Is that what part we're bulldozing?
Correct.
And had the energy efficiency wrapped on, and what's that company called that pisses me off? So,
Nothing was done on the energy performance in the highway office.
yeah, the building was wrapped or something, at least that's what they said in the contract. It was wrapped.
There were seals put in on doors. There was no wrap.
There was no wrapping. I did all the work up there. We re-sided the building and then did some interior renovations. Nothing.
The highway and Dan Ford's project, actually.
But all
They
that,
sealed some of the doors, like the garage bay doors, so drafts wouldn't come in.
but all the office that we just reconstructed, that's the piece we're talking about bulldozing?
Correct. It's a piece that Devin has asked to move out of because it's the building is not handicap accessible, and the way it's split up, it's just not feasible for what he's looking to do with the permit.
What would Devin do in the meantime for office space?
I'm sure we'd be in a trailer. Yeah, that's what we had to do when we renovated that building before, is we moved storage containers. They rent temporary office
Those are very
trailers,
nice, yeah.
right, and they were right inside the bays of the shop. So they were climate controlled, but we would wire them up, and they're 40-foot containers that are 8 or 10 feet wide. Work out of those.
How long do you anticipate the whole project to take?
I don't have that yet. That's it's a good question. I don't, it would be months though. It wouldn't be a overnight project.
These projects all under prevailing wages.
That's exactly what it is too. So in the footnotes here,
The escalation charges are a reflection of construction starting in 2023. So it would grow 10%, like anything has. And then costs include prevailing rates. So we're bound to that in the county. At any time we have anybody put shovel, to the ground, it's gonna be prevailing.
Any idea of the difference in total cost from wages that you could, as against prevailing wages?
So I can give you an example of the roof at the Ag Center, since we're going through that process. We had a roofing company come in, and if the county was to put a roof on a building that size, which is 11,000 square feet of flat roof, it would have cost well over $460,000. Jim Rutowski, being a private owner, was able to have that roof done for like $159,000. So we're looking at 2 or 3 times the money being prevailing wages.
That big difference was just what difference in prevailing wages?
Yes.
It's rate, you're paying rate. You hire a painter, you hire a carpenter, it's rate. They're $50 to $60 an hour now. We were doing work with $15 to $20 an hour men when we did social services. But you don't find skilled work for that money now. It's just not gonna happen.
I bought this up in my previous time years ago at NISAC. You're going into an awesome discussion. I bought up on Congress from a county with under 50,000 people. Realistically, they'll come to prison for only about 38,000 people. And they got jumped on by the bigger counties. He said, what about me? I said, what about you? We're an agricultural county here. We don't have GM or big corporations here. And I'd like to talk to you because I would maybe talk to you again. Because at NISAC, if the opportunity comes, I'd like to bring that up again. Most likely it might not go nowhere, but if you don't bar, you're not gonna get any attention.
Yeah, it's very difficult, and that's why we do a lot of our own, and have done a lot of our own projects. But I just don't see it financially fitting anymore, hiring the correct help for the money that we can offer. I'm Dad as well, we're lucky we have the help we have for the $20 or $22 an hour, so.
Okay, to keep them.
Right.
I had one put in the resignation the other day. I have 2 more that said they're currently interviewing.
And another thing is that with prevailing rates, obviously they break us up in regions. Those rates increase on July 1st every single year. So whatever the prevailing rate is they're estimating right now, you can be guaranteed an increase come July 1st from the state. And we can hire a company to come in and they may have guys that hang drywall, do concrete, do all these other things at the same rate. When you get into prevailing rate and classifications of labor, you have a guy holding a hammer and he's getting paid $30, and you got a guy holding a shovel and he's getting paid $60. And we have no choice but to pay that.
Yeah, that whole scale it's all over the board, we just don't control it. The tin knockers make more money or less money, it's all different. How that comes across.
We had a guy on site that couldn't even do anything because he's classified as a foreman.
Right.
Through Department of Labor. He couldn't even help the guy out there.
Right, more than capable of doing the work, but because he is classified as a foreman, he stands there to
And we have to do 4.
supervise.
Yes.
So I expected this building to be around the $3 million mark. So for it to come in 25% more than that, that's the times we're in, everything is up just that much with materials, and that's not slowing down as well. So I know it's a sticker shock price, it's a lot of money. I know Janice is concerned with tearing apart a building we renovated, but the buildings, I don't know how much was spent on the renovation before, but it wasn't extravagant renovations. We cited it, we did put a roof on it, steel roof on it.
There's someone going down inside, I think.
So, right, there's, it's tiled, some,
Well, I'm not gonna say because I'm not good at numbers.
laminated tile, either way. I know the shops,
I can't remember numbers, I have too many in my head.
the shop spaces are what we just spray foamed, you know, but nothing was really done. The office was the last piece of those projects up there, because I believe we spent what was left of the shop transformation money.
So the big, I'm just gonna cross this out there, so you're estimating $650,000 shed over at public health is a lot less. Just throwing that out there.
And that's all that was though, was a shop.
Right.
You know, we proposed this as.
And we thought that was a lot.
space.
Just
I don't
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but space here lately is a commodity that we don't have a lot of, so.
Enhanced apartments
What
were.
we said about the building at the Acer. If we could appropriate that for you guys and offices in there. You know, wherever we're 3 miles down, and the offices are there. In the end, building. And you know, that, I mean, it doesn't help that. Problem, but. you know. Is that, will that building over there, the Acer, the garage all that, be big enough for your shop space?
It would be close to be enough shop space. But we're looking at, you know, putting a lot of money into that one as well. I don't know a lot, it's not, of course, $6 million, but $100,000 maybe with heating and the lighting, and making sure the building's correct. And it's probably more than $100,000. I say that because it's 50 grand to put a roof on the thing, and that's gotta be done this year anyway. You can see light through the roof.
That's not running in there, there was a whole lot of room left in there.
Well, and that's also the disconnect is,
Everybody's using the storage right now.
Yeah, so.
it's a cold storage building. We put some shelving up in there because everybody, including my department, uses it as a catch-all. Anytime we have a desk, a file cabinet, the campus lawnmower here is stored over there. Our old lawnmower is over there that we use at the Ag Center now. Because here we don't have any storage. I put 4 pallets of salt in the shed out here and it's full. I can't even get a mower in there. You know, we go through 4 pallets of salt season here on campus.
The Scotland don't have something in there.
They keep their vehicle in there as well, just through the winter months. So they have a bay.
Is there like a room they don't?
I'm sorry, Quality Milk does not keep a vehicle in there. Soil and Water keep a vehicle and they have lumber and posts and fencing and all kinds of different items they keep in there. Quality Milk does have some shelving for some chemicals in there. They're like the acidic chemicals, but whatever chemicals they have to store for their testing. So it's behind the lock and key. It's so.
Janice, any wisdom on how to finance something in that sort
You
of?
would have to borrow that kind of money. I mean, you'd have to take out a certain amount. Yeah, we don't have that kind of money just laying around.
That's what I asked.
Yeah, and then that's why we asked for them to quote a mid-grade building though. You know, you could do a stick-built building, just a wood, it would decrease the value or decrease the cost. But not knowing, with all the building code laws, what extras would be needed for fireproofing them, being a wood structure. So I wanted to go with the cheap steel structure, knowing that there will be less involvement with the codes. But these are the numbers. These are the numbers it would cost to, and again, it's 15,000 square feet. Yes, it seems big, but I'm sure it would fill up pretty quickly once constructed. So, do you have anything?
Well, Well, I'm sure we're not prepared to make a decision today, but
Yep,
this is what it is.
exactly. This is what it is. And any other building, anywhere else that we're looking to put up. This is a new building, so that's, it's not a renovation, it's not a remodel. This is a new build.
So this would fit both our parking needs pretty well, this would, and the other thing too is it's any cheaper than today, so if we wait a year to do it, it could be. Much.
Yeah, and we're seeing that with the, 3 years ago, I put together estimates for the fire training center with our guys doing some resealing and stuff like that. And I'm sure we're gonna encounter those increases, even doing that building. There's that $200,000 side and insulate the existing building is probably gonna be closer to 300 now, just because everything's up 40% material wise. So but we'll push to get that going as soon as we can, but this is a whole other venture.
Hi, Mike. This is Sandy King. Can you guys get that paperwork you handed out to email me, please?
Yep, actually, I was gonna supply all that. I'd like to get all the supervisors just a copy because it'll be discussed amongst everybody anyway. So we'll make sure, yeah.
Thank you.
I got the actual numbers yesterday afternoon, so that I was off last week. I met with campus on Tuesday of this week. They were able to sit down and go over this with me. And then they were able to get the correct numbers to me yesterday afternoon after some adjustments. So
Can you send me a description of like how you describe a two-story building, that there'll be a conference room?
yeah, I'll actually send you what I sent them. So the plans, the rough sketch, you know what I mean, and then
That's all I have.
what we anticipate the building needing.
Yep.
And then it's 2 pages, and as you can see, it's small little print, but there's a lot involved. Line items. So
At some point when this percolates to a point where they're ready to do something, you have to send it to planning for space allocation.
Okay, so I'm gonna consider this now 10, that's why this is what it's cost.
I'm just trying to think of funding other than us. Would it be tweaked in a way that it would be considered infrastructure?
I think it was like using CHIPS money. Anymore.
Well, I'm thinking of this infrastructure money that's not federal.
Federal doesn't usually let us build buildings.
Okay, that's what
I mean, I've been here a long time and I don't think we've ever used federal money to build a building.
just throwing it out there.
Kind of like, you have to aid money in the airport.
I know, that's what I was afraid of doing. And I was just trying to pick money from one.
I can work with Robin and find out what the bond rates are, and find out what that would be to take out a zero bond, I mean, that's.
Well, because of this, they're going to interest.
Because that's so much bigger now.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there's no, it's not like we're just gonna write a check for $5 million, we don't have that kind of money, so you're gonna have to borrow that kind of money.
you don't have like a hidden checkbook or something?
No, I don't think we could, I don't know.
Oh, I understand.
I mean, there's still funding from ARPA that we haven't agreed on. We all know there's requests out there that well exceed the amount, but
We're gonna have that.
I mean, you all have that spreadsheet. And I mean, a portion of that could be used, but you also got, like I said, the fire training center.
Sure.
I mean,
No,
we
right,
can
there's-
talk about priorities or something. I mean, space is a priority for all of us, I think. I mean, I think there's been a lot of departments that can come in and they have space issues. The fire training center, I don't know where we are with that. And we've sat and talked about how we're gonna pay for that with CIP money,
Yeah, I think we'll be in good shape going into next year
right?
to be able to update the existing structure with
Yeah.
no addition, but make that building nice again with CIP money. Maybe adding a classroom, stuff like that. But we really have to revisit the numbers at that time.
Well, and that's just it, I mean, some things we've been putting off, I mean, that place is,
That's gonna fall apart.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we know that place needs attention, we have to, but like I said,
Overhead doors were $3,200 a piece 3 years ago, they're $4,500 a piece now for that building. So that's just something to look at, that everything's up, that 30 to 40 to 50% material cost. And like I said,
Well, that's fine, no.
so that's
I know,
where,
I know.
that's where a project like that, like we did at the dog shelter, we can afford to put 2 or 3 guys on that and renovate that building because we don't have a deadline. But to start a new project, to start a giant,
oh, that's way too big,
it's just way too much.
that's a week, yeah, you would have to.
So, yes.
I can certainly ask Robin what that would look like with a 2023 start, if you guys are interested.
We can't take a look at that.
We might, we've got to continue, like I said, if we're interested, we need the information. Read more you think about
Well, but now, they got Mike Campbell, they have about 13 buildings now, but
We already have 14.
14.
So, and that 14 is like buildings and properties, you know, I don't consider Devon's 7 buildings up there, you know, I consider that one.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, it would add to our workload, but a new building is kind of easier to maintain than an older building, of course. So,
And, you know, we got Devin taking care of 240 road. You know, kind of big areas.
Some of that shuffle may help. We just heard that mental health is.
I don't know if the highway department property is a good property for anything other than public works though.
I'm not
I think we're gonna put the.
I'm not indicating that mental health would be down there too, I'm just saying that space is a,
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
an
Yeah.
issue.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a highly sought commodity that we don't have much of. By moving some other people around, that could free up additional space.
You gotta see what happens for sure, public health, once veterans are out of there. If there is, because I think if you don't know whole space.
Public health is, I think so, too. Yeah.
I don't think,
Because ideally, it would be ideal to have mental health.
Yeah, they were once upon a time.
They were.
have they grown to a department of 10 though, 10 people?
They've got
Exactly.
partnership for prevention in there with them, and I think that partnership.
So we
makes sense.
talked about moving soil and water potentially with that space that they'd be vacating.
They're not using that much space.
No, they have 1,000 square feet, they're 1,100 square feet.
I was thinking.
Yeah, Becky and I kind of talked to that, and it's easier to move the smaller departments around, you know, like that, but it's very difficult, like mental health now is 10 people and whatever they have.
And
We're
I
getting some space in conference room and stuff like that.
thinking about it over the last few days, the mental health effects. We may, just because of the way the funding comes in for them to pay for a lease, we might be better off leasing a spot if something suitable came available. Because it pays for it. I mean, the state pays for it. As much as it's nice to own something, because then you control it, because we know what we're into there.
Yeah,
If it was the right thing.
I think the lack of maintenance on that property has gone beyond.
I don't mean that property.
Oh, no, I'm just, that's, it wasn't looked at years ago, or if it was rushed under the rug because we weren't paying for it, so we didn't worry about it. But,
We could.
yep.
Okay. I'll get you that today, chance of this figure that, you know, we had to borrow the money, what that cost, well, how long would it take to pay for it, that kind of thing.
can we revisit this then at planning next month? If she can get numbers and,
I'll ask Robin to
Or at
get,
least-
I'm not gonna get the numbers, but Robin, I'll ask Robin to get the numbers and maybe she can present that at finance. If we can do it that way.
Yeah. Let's keep it in the discussion anyways.
that's.
Yes, Janice, she'll either do it under your agenda or you'll ask Robin to do it under hers.
Great.
All right, move on to your agenda, Mike, first is an FYI for backboard correction. Very exciting.
Yep, this is just an active fee to $2,500. Our backflow preventers and neighbor large buildings. We have taken care of, of course, here on campus. All those documents get forwarded on to the health department or the village. Those items, but we have to have those inspected. So GTF Plumbing's been doing that for us for years and years, and it's really nice working with them. They let us know if we do have an issue, what the issue is, and we fix a lot of those items in-house, and then re-inspect and put their stamp on it, and we have a good relationship there, so we'd like to keep that going.
Okay. Number two, purchase service contract with White Oak Construction for septic maintenance repairs at various county buildings.
Asking not to exceed $5,000 at this point. A lot of the things FICO does for us, we should be able to do in-house with purchasing some of the tools we have in the past 12 months. But we still have the day-to-day issues. Actually, FICO was just up at the training center yesterday. We're finding that with the amount of groundwater right now, that it has flooded the grounds at the training center, and the septic is full. Leach field is full, the septic tank is full. Could not put anything else into that septic system, so we were having some issues up there yesterday. They took out 1,500 gallons of water out of a 1,000 gallon system. So it's actually filling just as quickly as we're pumping.
We have on top of the hill like that.
So it's just holding that on groundwater. It must just sit on clay out there. And so that's what we're seeing. So I'm sure it's full again when we put some out of order signs in the restrooms. So LIPO takes care of a lot of those issues. They do the grease trap at the jail, and do that every 6 months for us. So lucky to have LIPO right up on the hill. Mel's very, very good, and the guys are very great to deal with. So call them up, they put us on the schedule, and they usually get out the same day.
We've been able to resolve the issue of social services.
We have. I haven't heard anything in, let's say, 4 months now.
Don't say
Yeah.
So after tearing some walls apart, after some new gaskets and flanges and toilets and sinks, we have not seen any sign of stench, sewer gas and smell. We do see it primarily in the fall and in the spring though.
that.
Oh, we're 23 days to spring, right?
Right. So, but they've got your number now, so I'm just gonna have to call you first. No, it's, I think we have that on the run. I think we'll be in good shape up there.
Okay, I just need a motion for number two. Motion by Supervisor Roach. For the discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Next, is special service contract with Imperial Door Control. Station automatic door over the courthouse. With Sunday area. This is for the new.
This is the new project. We have to get the automatic openers. As everybody can remember, the original doors had the openers on that. We're gonna keep that there. We need to, since there's a set of doors being added, we need to add one opener for one door. It'll be remote push button, just like it was. But we have a resolution to use Imperial Door as their, like our sole provider for that, so all the equipment stays the same throughout the county. And that came back at $3,700, again, 30% higher than it was 2 years ago.
It's availability, and this is gonna be,
It sounds like they have, yeah, it sounds like they're able to get us.
motion for Supervisor Grant. Number 3, further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anything else like that?
No, I could just update you on, well, I say no, but there's always more, right, Jim? Update you on projects. Rotunda's still going, we're still awaiting block. They have the correct sample, they have the correct texture, they have the correct color. Now we're waiting on the block company to cast those, put the cap on, and then we can wrap the fascia around the windows as well. And I went to order the heater for out there because it's a stock item. I had to order it through ID Booth. 45 days out, it's stock item right now. So not that we'll be needing heat in 6 or 8 weeks, but exactly, yes. So we'll be waiting for that, but we'll be wrapping up the inside. The guys have been working on the inside ceiling of the rotunda. After years of the dome leaking, there were some issues, compromise with dry bit. All that has been patched, and they're painting out there right now in prep for that security station. We have a meeting with the sheriff and department heads on March 1st, I believe. Is it the 1st?
Very finance.
Yeah. So we'll set a plan in place then of what the security station then will entail and the duties of the officers. And there's some other things in the works there, but so it's moving. It's definitely slow moving. It's very frustrating. We've stopped paying the Peconi construction until the work is complete now. We're not going to cut them any more money. So other than that, I know yesterday we had discussed possibly getting some help for Kristen. After talking to Kristen and seeing what the additional help would entail. As we discussed, we have 14 buildings. There's heavier workloads with all the projects that we have on the burner. Eunice, of course, has complicated some things for Kristen and added some workload. I sat with Janice a couple weeks ago, and Janice and I discussed maybe some different things that we can do within the department to help Kristen, and I'm open to that. But I believe with all the contracts, the bids and bidding processes, our maintenance agreements, we're going to need help in the office, whether it's part-time to start, and we'll see how that helps, or full-time. Like I said, we'll see. But I do ask for the board to be aware that I think we are in need of at least part-time help. Kristen she's also maxed on benefit time after 5 years being here. She's not able to leave the office. If she does, she comes on the weekend. She'll come in on a Sunday to kind of get things in order. The biggest component of asking right now for help is, I think all of us have seen in the past couple of years, losing department heads or losing help, that we put a lot of eggs in one basket. And if something were to happen to either Kristen or I, we don't know each other's jobs like the backs of our hands. It'd be very difficult to replace one another. So I need somebody to be able to back her up. So when she's not here, or she is on vacation, or wanted to take time off, somebody can fill in and take care of the work that's necessary. So I don't know, budgetary wise, or what I'd be looking for yet. I know we discussed yesterday, like that $17, you know, like was it a grade 3?
I was just gonna
you know?
ask you, so will you be working with HR and putting together a proposal for
I
this
would-
one?
I would-
Because
I will.
it's clearly clerical what you're looking for.
Exactly. Yeah, Kristen is doing a lot of things that are simple as well, that she needs to be working on, the more core duties of her position that she has put on the back burner and just can't. So we just need
I think
somebody.
you need to ask HR for a couple of the lower level job specs to see if something sparks your interest there.
Okay.
Then figure out where they fall on the union scale,
Gotcha.
and then you can build your numbers from there.
Sure.
Have they started to move today over there, or?
I haven't heard yet.
Heard stuff.
So the Ag Center, they are starting the roof, or they've got materials there. They were supposed to start today. I don't know if they did with a little bit of weather we had. We had to purchase a couple ladders for the building. Roofing contractors can replace all of the drain pieces that attach to the roof. Just so they know those aren't gonna be an issue and those aren't gonna leak down the road. We did go out and purchase 20 9x12 pieces of plastic. I thought it'd be funny to purchase ponchos for the employees over there, but we're gonna hand out some plastic so people can cover up their workstations and desks to keep their office equipment and stuff like that dry. We have leaks now, we're gonna see leaks once they start tearing into that roof. Once you start moving that sheeting and moving the membrane and everything like that, water's gonna travel to places that it just wasn't before. And then if we do get rain or ice, it's gonna get under there this time of year. So I can only hope for the best over there. And I wanna be able to check in every day or two on the progress of that.
I was gonna ask, is there, what clerk of the works, if you were down Roberts, from kind of watching?
I don't know that. We'd like to watch, you know, Terry Mooney has his guy Jim is supposed to be overseeing what they're doing up there. But I have pretty good faith in the company that is doing the work and I think we put a 25-year on that.
That's why we went with them. Right?
That's because their reputation.
But that's why Jim was,
Right. Yes.
and we are scheduled to close on 28th. We have to,
28th of February,
yes,
We have to, but
yes, we have to.
again, down before the 1st of March,
Yes, yes, and Jennifer's working on, Cheryl and I were working with Jennifer like last night. And we'll be doing it today, we got pieces together. She's working on some sort of an agreement in there as far as the responsibility to have that roof done. But since it's part of the purchase agreement, I mean, we were purchasing the building within as part of us. So it is the seller's responsibility to get it done. Even if it's after.
On the maintenance end of things in that building, Janice and I have worked on the list of things that I'd like to do there. We compiled a couple $100,000 in needs. Majority of that is a lot of the HVAC controls and stuff like that, but we have funding for that this year. We have that aside already, so we can hit the ground running once we do take ownership. To sort out the heating and to get a roof on the barn over there, that wasn't included, but it's not a huge ticket item, but it is something that's gotta be done to save that building. There's rekeying of the entire building that'll be done. right now, the property owner owns the codes for, through best lock systems, who we use already. So we're just gonna have that whole building done instead of just a few new doors. One thing I wanted to touch base on, which I had talked to Don Roberts on Tuesday as well, is USDA. So up there, because it's federal, they're the only one with keys to that. So that section, I know there's some things in the lease that have to change with the verbiage because we become owners now. So there may be something there, but I feel maintenance should have access to that area. I don't know what the process is yet to be able to gain access for after hours of that area. But since we're gonna be the owners and there's water lines and there's HVAC, we've got to work something out with them that we're able to get in there at all times. And then,
They were still waiting to see if that would release.
Yeah.
oh, gotcha, because we don't hold that.
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha.
I mean, we can look, some of this won't change for us.
Don has one,
USDA.
For USDA.
he has a copy,
I think I might have a copy.
or USDA.
Excuse me?
Don't we? Is that the copy that we
No, I
have?
don't believe we got a copy for that.
For that?
We got a copy for everything else.
Oh, for everything else, wait,
Yes.
right.
But Don was gonna look into, he thought he had a copy of their lease as well, so. he was gonna-
Okay.
That's,
He was gonna look for that for us,
I see. Okay.
so. And
We're not good
then,
card players, are we, Abby? Excuse me?
it's
Okay,
frustrating.
okay.
so after we close, we'll do a lot of work over there, a lot of it's contracted out though, so it's, we'll be in there at the same time renovating for veterans to move in. But then the biggest thing is the controls, so.
We were here yesterday in planning when they approved, they did approve it in planning, cost, space allocation for doing it, so that's
Yes,
officially it.
I've yet to talk to Anthony this morning. I'm sure he'll be very
I didn't
pleased.
really know, right? So that would be nice if you knew that officially too.
That'll open up a lot of venues, of course, for Laura, and that was one of the things with buildings and grounds, moving into a building as well, that records storage area could possibly be given to the health department as well for their storage needs. But
And actually, we learned yesterday in ag, that the timing for veteran services to move into the ag center is real good because Cornell has a new program that will dovetail real nicely with veteran services. So that's like, yeah, in heaven.
that's about all I got. Do you have any questions or?
Anything else for Mike? That's it. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
That's what the transportation board this time. Thank you. Okay.